This is Ken.
Hey, this is TB.
This is Chris.
Hey, this is Jeff.
This is Justin from A Gathering of None.
We're coming to you from Reiner, Virginia.
Franklin, Massachusetts.
Bluefield, Virginia.
Montclair, New Jersey.
San Antonio, Texas.
Bands like Rush, it's probably my favorite band, maybe outside of the Beatles. Neil Peart is definitely one of my all-time favorite drummers. King's X, Galactic Cowboys, Dream Theater is a really big deal to me. Soundgarden, Faith No More, Seven Dust, Black Sabbath.
When it comes to a band like A Gathering of None, I try to focus on certain types of music that influenced me in times in my life that I feel are maybe relevant to the mood or theme that we're trying to portray on a certain song or record like we did on this last one. And for this album, obviously Alice in Chains, even some Faith No More, and there's some punk in there, you know, Corrosion, and then, you know, some Bad Religion and things like that with the big harmonies, some King's X, obviously.
It goes from everything from Megadeth to Only Living Witness to King's X, Queens of the Stone Age, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Smashing Pumpkins, Corrosion of Conformity, Helmet.
The Offspring, Millencolin, Face to Face, Unwritten Law, Strung Out, Zebrahead, Metal, 36 Crazy Fists, Trivium, Nevermore, Silosis, Killswitch Engage, Clutch, At the Drive-In, The Mars Volta, Mudvayne, Smile Empty Soul, Chevelle, Stone Sour. It goes back to Yes, Rush, Blue Oyster Cult, stuff like that.
Rush with Geddy Lee, David Lee Roth, era Billy Sheehan, and also the stuff he's done with Mr. Big. Iron Maiden, certainly a big influence on me as well with Steve Harris.
Anyone who likes hard music, be it if they're into punk rock, hardcore, melodic punk, post-hardcore, grunge, alternative, stoner rock, some prog metal. We cover all those bases, so I think there's something for everybody. People should experience our music because it covers a lot of bases lyrically, but the most prevalent themes in our songs are usually deeply introspective and personal, so I think there's something that everybody can relate to in each one of those songs. It's all real emotion, so there's nothing false or contrived going on in any of our lyrics. It's all about real stuff, which everybody can relate to.
If you like 90s grunge, alt rock, alt metal with a modern twist, definitely a reason to experience our music. The composition, the lyrical content, it's just a personal, heavy-hitting, just very emotional experience. There's something under the surface on every song that has been a big part of Tracy's life, and I connect with that. That's a really cool reason to experience our music, is to develop a connection like that.
The production of this record was something that personally I put a lot of thought into to come up with a sonic idea of what we wanted the record to sound like and feel like, and I think that we hit it right on the head. I wanted something that sounded like a band. I wanted it to be real drums, and I wanted them to be unfixed, and I wanted the guitars to be a real mic in front of a real guitar amp, and I mean the same thing with the bass tone. It's a real mic and a real amp. I wanted us to sound like a real band, and what we sound like. Sonically, I think it's perfect. We basically recorded the bulk of the record, the guts of it, in about 4 days. We all converged in Virginia and just banged it out. It was, 16-hour days. Everybody brought their A game. I think the most difficult thing producing a record that quickly is trying to get the best take you can get out of everybody without exhausting them or fatiguing their instrument. A lot of the takes that you hear on the record, for all of us, all the guitar parts, the drum parts, the bass, a lot of them are the very first take that we did. And if not, the second. It was a pleasure to be able to sit behind the computer and direct these super talented musicians that didn't really need much direction.
These songs were written and arranged remotely. The first time we ever got to really play any of them together was when we showed up here in the studio to record them. Not only was Justin our guitarist, but he was also our producer for this record, and he did a fantastic job. It really makes it a lot easier to focus on what you need to do when you've got another set of ears sitting out there in real time telling you if what you're doing is what you need to be doing, or if we maybe should give it another shot. And I found that really beneficial.
The Offspring, Americana, was the first album I ever bought. I listened to it countless times. never gets old, and it aged really well too. Over the years, the songs kind of stuck out more. They started meaning more to me. I started having a deeper connection to the lyrics and stuff like that.
Without question, influences me to this day. Only living witness, Innocence. Always going to be there. Always going to be in my top 5. If you haven't checked it out, do yourself a favor.
Without a doubt, David Lee Roth, Eat 'Em and Smile. That album is to this day my favorite record.
Probably Alice in Chains' Dirt. It's just such a sonically dense record. It's so dark and miserable. I just love it.
I personally believe that the destruction of the earth has been staved off at one point or another simply by the sheer existence and majesty of the first 4 or 5 Black Sabbath records, and just nobody knows it. I would have to go with Jeff. Jeff's home planet is probably called Appalachia, because that's imaginary. We all know that factually it's Appalachia. I'm sure that the rivers flow with ecto-cooler, and all of its occupants have beards and wear toboggans.
I certainly hope not. I've had this hairstyle for about 25 years. I think it has kept pace fairly well, although each year it looks like I'm getting ever closer to the late 90s, early 2000s Devin Townsend look.
There's been a few over the past 20, 25 years. I'm sure Tracy remembers the sprout top. Probably my most embarrassing one was when me and Ken were trying to grow our hair out long. Took a lot of hairspray to make my fluff stay down.
For me specifically, skipping songs before they're finished. People who like to be like, I don't want to listen to this one 30 seconds in or a minute in, right before the hook into the chorus or something like that. I can't stand that. Listen to the song the way it was intended. They didn't write a 30-second song if it's 3 minutes long. You listen to 3 minutes.
Probably has to go back to my previous band, Blitzkid, when I was in Graz, Austria, for the first time in 2004. They served us what was known as the Austrian salad, which consisted of iceberg lettuce doused in vinegar and oil, and onions caramelized to the point they were black, accompanied with mac and cheese that smelled like feet. That's the worst thing.
We have a tour coming up later this year in July 2018. We're going to be in the sort of easternmost portion of the Midwest and the Northeast. We'll be having shows in Tennessee, West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Massachusetts. Guys, come on out and see us.
I think as far as being artsy and or fartsy, I can't quite curl my mustache. And I live south of Austin, so I'm going to have to go with a little bit artsy. A lot of people have a hard time considering hard rock and metal art, for a lot of people it just sounds like noise. But I think for this band especially, there's a definite emotional direction. And is art not channeling emotions for the sake of interacting with other people? I mean, it's art. It's our art. It's dramatic and it's sad and it's deep and it's dark, but it's art. It's, maybe it's pretty, maybe it's not perfect, but I think it's art. It's definitely almost art. It's definitely sort of art. It's maybe art. It's art. It's art. It's not art. It's art.
I think I strive to be sort of a perfectionist in what I do, which is a clearly unachievable goal. And to that end, my motto has frequently been, it is what it is.
What's the stupidest thing that I've ever heard somebody say? That's a really good idea, Chris.